Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Bev. Happy January, Happy New Year. And the great thing about real estate is that every day is a new year. But today we're going to talk about the year-end statistics a little bit regarding what's going on with the market. And just like every month, we'll be able to bring to you regarding the market statistics. And so we're going to have a little bit of information about how's the market. That is the number one question that we get here at Breakfast with Bev, get with the Bev & Co., is that how's the market? And I'll tell you, as far as normally, the November, December, January is a little slower and properties take a little longer to sell, and so there's some sellers that actually take their houses off the market during this time period and then start putting it back on to come February 1st. So basically the spring market always happens in Columbia, Missouri whenever there's a 50-degree day and sunshine. That's kind of what I've said for 25 years as far as what we've seen. But I'll tell you that you can tell as far as how our weather's been, it's been 50 degrees and it hasn't really gotten cold yet, even though this morning's a little chilly. But our spring market really has never stopped being the spring market since the summertime. Just this last week, as an example, we had a couple of listings that we had that went under contract with multiple offers. And so as you are thinking about potentially selling your house, there's definitely buyer activity that's happening. And so how's the market? The market is in full spring selling mode. And I'm going to give you some little data as far as looking back. So let's look back at 2020. It's always a presidential election year that's a little sketchy as far as knowing what would happen. And this is not politics. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. That's not a Democrat or Republican statement. It's any presidential election year, it's always just up in the air. What's going to happen with the marketplace? Are people going to start pulling out or waiting and seeing what happens? And we really didn't see that this year. And I think it was really because of back last February, March, with the shutdown of the Columbia marketplace, we had a little bit of slowdown. Buyers and sellers were still buying and selling and transacting business because we were considered an essential business as far as people needing to do that. And they were, because people needed more space as we moved homes and moved our office homes and we homeschooled our kids. Those all take more space and different planning and the way that we use the houses. And so we continue to see that transition, if you will, about people having a need to both buy and sell. And so what we've really seen over 2020 is a lack of inventory, and it's been pretty consistent all year long. And so the market statistics actually tell us that. So let's look at active, which is the supply of properties. And so currently today in the MLS area overall, and so when I say MLS area, that means not just Columbia, but it's Boone County, Cole County, Callaway County, Randolph, Audrain, Cooper, I think I got them as far as being that. But all the surrounding areas that are available, if you can drive to it in an hour's time period, that's what our MLS basically makes up. And so our MLS wide, as far as active properties are for sale, are 345 as of this morning. How does that look in compared to what we normally have? That is down 24% from December as far as the active properties as of December 1st, whenever we were looking at things. And December was down 23% from November. So it consistently goes down. And I don't have the numbers to track to go back what the active properties were for January of 2020. But I do know that it normally runs around 900 to 1,000. And when we get into the spring marketplace of February, March, we're usually running about 1,500 homes. So we are definitely down significantly as far as the supply is concerned. And so that's overall MLS. And we talk about Columbia only. Currently active for sale properties, there's 161 active for sale properties in all price ranges. We've had years past where there's been 161 homes within a 300 to 500,000 price point, as an example. So this is everything. And like example, there's 19 active homes, within a certain price point. And so anyway, if you're looking to buy or sell, there's definitely going to be a reason to look at what the supply is, and that will, allow us to be able to kind of go out and take a look. Pending properties. This helps us know demand. So the supply is way down. Does that mean that the demand is way down? And actually the demand is up. So even though there's fewer homes to look at as far as the supply is concerned, the demand has consistently been up and stronger from year over year and month over month as far as what we've seen consistently over the last, you know, 15 months or so. So anyway, let's look at what the numbers are as far as pending properties. So how many properties have went under contract in the last 45 to 60 days? That's about how long of a transition period that we have between when you find a house and when the house can actually close and you can move in. So about 60 days, 30 to 45 days is normal, but it really goes back to there's some 60-day properties that are still out there. So there's 391 properties that are under contract and just waiting for their closing date. So if I go back and compare that to the active properties for sale, that's 346 properties active for sale in all the MLS, and there's 391 under contract. So that lets us know there's less than a 1 month supply of inventory overall in the marketplace. And so that really helps us understand what's the supply like. It's a very small supply as far as what's out there right now, and the demand still stays consistent. In fact, the demand is up 13% from November to December as far as the pending properties are concerned in Columbia area. So 263 properties currently under contract in the Columbia addresses. So 65202, 03, and 01. We have 263 properties under contract. Closed properties, this helps us determine value. So once the property actually closes, is what we as realtors use to be able to give you market value, and also what the appraisers will use to determine do we have this appraised right, even though prices are really going up. Is there the right price point for that, and has the demand and supply equaled each other, or has it got out of whack, and the appraiser's job is to kind of keep it from appreciating too fast. So closed properties have closed in December. And so that number is up 40% from December of 2019. That's a significant number. So that tells us that the demand for properties and how the marketplace is doing. This is our spring marketplace, and it really has a numbered example to let us know with it being up 40% from 2019. So even during the election time period, people were still buying houses and at a house rate even 40% higher than the year before. There's been 197 of those 247 that are actually in Columbia zip codes. So Columbia has 200 properties that have closed in the month of December, and that's up 40% from 2019 as well. So it stayed consistent citywide versus countywide. So 2019, so there's a 19% increase in home sales from 2020 versus the year before. So that does tell us, even though we had a pandemic, even though we had a presidential election year, the housing market was really strong in 2020, and it's going to, my prediction is because we still have the lack of supply and the same amount of buyers or even more buyers, and so it will stay strong and be a great time to be able to be a seller. And I'll give you a perfect example. This is very off course from just the statistics a little bit, but I'm helping a seller right now who bought their house 3 years ago. Normally we see, maybe a $10,000 gain from that. So values are way up from what you normally are able to track as far as our marketplace is concerned. Let's look at building. So the inventory's been low, and so are people building houses? And the answer to that is yes. The actual building permits for 2020 were for county-wide, all of Boone County, 389 building permits. And so there's 389 new people to be able to do additions or building new on properties. And that number is up 25% from the year before. So, we have an increase in home building, and so the builders are out there, they're doing their job, and they're 379 of those building permits. There's been 379 building permits in Boone County, 389 in Columbia. So not just Columbia city limits, but the actual county, about the same number. So it's not be completed yet. So what does that mean? Of those new properties that have sold through the MLS, were they spec homes, which means did the builder just buy them in speculation of trying to find a buyer? Or were people building of the 768 properties that were built new? that actually sold through the MLS in 2020. And so therefore, that tells us that custom homes built on top of the MLS statistics about home sales. So there's been a high demand of properties. Builders have, building permits are up 25%. Home sales were up 13%. Due to the values of homes, there's the average sales price for the properties in 2020 was up 8%, and so the average sales price is $256,000. And so that's up 8% from 2019. So values continue to go up. Demand still consistently up and constantly up. And the supply has been down and consistently increased and be able to have more business because there's just simply not enough existing homes to be able to keep up with the demand of the marketplace. Average days on the market has went down by 30%, which is consistent with what we're seeing because the supply is down. The actual number of days on the market as far as a property will remain on the market is down. It doesn't last as long on the marketplace because there's more buyers going after this, fewer houses. So even though the demand may be consistent, if you will continue to go down. And I anticipate that what's happening is going to happen in 2021, and I know that we had talked about 2 weeks ago and talked us consistently about what these numbers show from 2020 and kind of back up that number as far as saying since rates will stay low, and that's kind of what the predictions that we're hearing. If the rates continue to stay low, the demand is going to continue to be there, and so we're always going to be able to solve any questions about what your specific value is for your property. We'd love to be able to help you, so just reach out to us here at Dove & Co. and we'd be glad to assist you with being able to do that. We look forward to talking to you. Just let us know how we can help. Thank you. Have a great day.